Alright, what's up guys, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. So today's video, we have something a little bit different to normal. We have a graded card return, but it's not from PSA or BGS. It's actually from a brand new grading company called the Grading House, or TGH. So the backstory to this is, I know the owner, the founder of TGH pretty well, Karma TCG on Instagram. I've known him for a number of years, and this has been something which I've been aware has been in the pipeline for a long time. He finally reached out to me a few weeks back, asked me if I wanted to send some cards over to him to get graded at the grading house, just to test out the service, see what I think about it. And we're going to be going through the cards that I got back from the grading house today. So I sent, I believe, 15 cards in total. And I had a rough expectation of how I thought they would grade and stuff like that. We're pretty much just going to go through the cards, have a look at the slabs, the labels, everything like that, and compare how the grading was to what I expected. So to start off, we have this LOB European Red Eyes Black Dragon. Now this was something I just kind of threw in for a bit of fun. I have this card because it popped up on eBay one time for, I believe it was $2, $2 or $3 US, which is just insanely cheap for an LOB Red Eyes. You guys can see the card is pretty destroyed, but it was just one of those things I picked up because it seemed like a bit of fun for the price it was at. And I decided to throw this in this return as well. Obviously, with the kind of creasing it has, I was expecting a 1, and that's what we got. We got a TGH 1 pour. So the grading scale, as far as I understand, is pretty much the same as the PSA style grading style, 1 to 10. But the crucial difference is that there are two different 10s. There's a gem mint and a pristine, which obviously PSA doesn't have. Yeah, all of the lower grades have this silver border with the blue background. I think it looks really nice and clean. The back of the label is the same as well. You got the links, the logo, and then a QR code, which I believe takes you to the page on the pop report where the card info is. So yeah, pretty cool start to the submission. The slabs feel, I would say, similar to a PSA case in terms of the thickness and the weight and stuff like that. Definitely a nice sturdy seal. I don't really have any problems with the quality of the slab. Really nice product overall. So I sent some other cards from LOB. Next up we have this gold letter reverse foil, Gaia the Dragon Champion. A pretty popular card these days. I picked this one up a while back, and it was actually really nice and clean, so I figured I'd send this off, get it graded. The centering is a little bit tilted, but aside from that, the card was in awesome shape, no whitening, anything like that. And we got a gem mint 10 on this gold reverse Gaia, which is awesome. And one thing that's great about TGH is that they are happy to label errors and variants and stuff like that. So this says on the label that it is gold name and reverse foil, which is obviously what the card is. So yeah, very cool to see it labeled like that. PSA, I don't think grades them at all. And BGS does label stuff like this, but it's pretty hit and miss, and sometimes they won't label the reverse foil, for example, and other times they will. So yeah, everything seems to be exactly as you would want it to be on the label for this card, so that's awesome. The Gem Mint 10 grade has a gold border, as you can see, which is really nice looking, I have to say. I believe there may still be some minor tweaks with the labels, stuff like that over the coming months, because obviously it's still, in a sense, the beta phase for the company. But I really like how everything looks. Really awesome look to both sides of the slab. Has a nice premium feel to it, and it definitely displays the card nicely. Next card, we're going on to a bit of Wavy Unlimited. This is a Wavy Unlimited Trihorn Dragon. Now the reason I sent this is because I knew that TGH would be offering qualifiers to grades, and this Wavy Trihorn Dragon, it's like pack fresh condition, but you guys can see the centering top to bottom is way off on the front. Now funnily enough, on the back it's actually centered, so it's kind of just like a miscut card in a way, but you wouldn't call it miscut as such because the front centering isn't quite bad enough. It doesn't actually go off the edge of the border or anything like that. So yeah, I was hoping for a 9OC grade on this, and that's what we got. So we got a mint 9, but if you check the qualifiers of the card, it says OC. So again, I don't know if it's finalized how it's going to be labeled, if the OC goes there, or you know, stuff like that. But overall, it looks awesome. You can see it's labeled Wavy as well because it is a Wavy Unlimited Trihorn Dragon. So yeah, really happy with this overall so far. Everything is as I was expecting it to be. We have another Wavy Unlimited card here. This is a Cursive Dragon. You can see those really nice waves on the foil. This one I sent off because I thought it did have a good shot for a 10. Centering top to bottom is a little bit off, but aside from that, it's incredibly clean on both sides. And we got a gem mint 10. So yeah, again, really awesome. Everything so far is pretty much the same as I would grade it myself. This is one which I had thought about sending to PSA, but I didn't want to pay the $100 grading fee per card. And obviously it's a lot cheaper getting it graded with the grading house, which is another reason to consider sending some cards to them at the moment. So yeah, it's not something I plan to sell, and so it's not of too much significance to me whether the label it has is going to give it the same premium as a PSA 10 or something like that, which, you know, realistically it's not. Even from BGS, it wouldn't give it that value, let alone from, you know, a new grading company. But just having this to display with the really nice label, the clean look overall, I'm very happy with it. Next up, we have another Cursive Dragon. Now this one is not wavy, but you guys can see it's super, super faded. So I wasn't sure how this was going to be graded exactly. The condition is very, very clean again, good enough for a 10. I wasn't sure if faded would be allowed for 10 or not, or exactly how that would work, but that's what we got. We got a gem mint 10. Again, a really awesome card to look at. You can see it does have the faded designator on the label, which is pretty interesting to me because PSA obviously doesn't label faded cards at all. Sometimes they grade them nicely, sometimes they reduce the grade a lot for being faded. BGS does usually grade them fairly, but they use different labels. Sometimes they say printing error, sometimes they say missing red ink process, and other times they don't label it at all, just leave the slab as is. So I quite like going for the faded terminology. Like, in a way it seems less official than saying missing red ink process or something. But overall, it is what collectors call the cards at the end of the day. You don't refer to a faded card as a card that's missing the red ink process. You say faded. So I think it makes sense to have it on the label. Yeah, and again, really cool looking card. Looks great in the TGH slab. So next up we have another card from LOB. This one is Glossy print. And the reason I sent this is because it's an error. I think I maybe showcased this card in a mail day video on the channel a while back. But it's a name shift. So the name is shifted up quite a bit and then also kind of tilted or slanted, however you want to think about it. It's not straight on the card. This one isn't as good as the other cards I sent. I thought it would probably get either like a 7 or an 8, probably closer to an 8. And that's what we got. We got a TGH 8 near mint to mint. I believe all of the condition names match the same as the PSA grading scale. Aside from the 6 is possibly excellent to near mint instead of excellent to mint, which, if anything, makes more sense. And just to be clear, I'm not actually a part of TGH. I'm not affiliated with the company in any way. This is just, you know, my honest review looking over the cards that I sent off to be graded by them. And I'm just honestly very happy with the experience. It's very refreshing compared to sending to PSA or BGS these days, where sometimes you might get an awesome card that has a huge amount of value, but overall it's a pretty like up and down experience. And you can see the misprint is labeled as a name shift, as well as the fact that it's glossy print again. So really everything you could ask for to be recognized on the label is there, which is nice. Next up we have another Glossy Unlimited card. This is a Trial of Hell. So you guys, if you watch my channel, you probably already know that Trial of Hell only exists in Unlimited in glossy print, so it's a pretty hard to find card. Now it's not a misprint or anything like that, which it has been called in the past. It's just simply printed before they did the errata to change the name from Trial of Hell to Trial of Nightmare. So this one's kind of off center. It was pretty fresh aside from that, but I figured it would be at 9 thanks to centering. And that's what it was, mint 9. So again, overall, very accurate grading so far. Everything looks good. Everything checks out with the cases and the labels. Yeah, just a really nice experience sending to the grading house. We have one more Glossy Unlimited card. This is a Dark Magician. This one, kind of like the left leg, I guess, is not in as good shape as the other cards. You can see a bit of whitening on the top, and if we flip it over to the back, there's various little spots of whitening, maybe some light surface scratching, but no dents or bends or anything like that. So I figured it would probably get a 7, and that's what we got, a near mint 7. And what's special about this card is that it's a foil line error. So this is a pretty good angle to show off the way that the foil splits on the card. You got the left portion of the foil looking darker, and then the right portion to the right of the line reflecting lighter. It's very hard to find unlimited cards with foil lines, but funnily enough, I actually have 2 Dark Magicians. So I still have a different one in my binder, which has the line on the left. When I picked this one up recently, I figured I may as well chuck it into this submission because it's a very cool card, and it has that foil line designation to show the misprint. So yeah, again, very, very cool slab. This is all just stuff which, I'm not looking to sell, but it'll display really nicely. And I didn't want to shell out the huge grading fees to get something like this graded by PSA or BGS, especially when it's only going to get a grade like a 7. Right, so that's the end of the LOB, but we still have a few more cards to go through. First up, we have a Gemini Elf, Unlimited from Labyrinth of Nightmare. It's like a tiny, tiny bit faded, but I wouldn't really call it faded or anything like that. Now this one's clean, as far as I recall. I don't think there was really anything on the card condition-wise, but the centering is definitely off. You can see it's kind of maybe tilted as well, but either way, it's pretty shifted left to right. So I figured this would get a 9, and that's what we got, mid 9. So yeah, I mean, obviously, it is worth considering that it's hard to keep up consistency when you're as big as PSA on the same level as, I guess, when you're a new company starting out. So in that sense, you would maybe expect that the grading is better from a smaller company. But either way, the grades that I've got so far on the submission, they're all like bang on, right in the range where I was expecting. So it's great to see. Obviously, Karma TCG, the guy who owns the company, has a lot of experience. So, with someone like that at the head, who is himself an experienced Yu-Gi-Oh collector, that definitely helps you out in terms of having the right expertise to grade cards correctly. Now, this is a magic cylinder which I got from the same collection as the Gemini Elf. Again, this one actually is a bit more noticeable than the Gemini Elf. It's just got that slight fade to it overall. And it's also a bit better centered. So I figured this could get a 9 or a 10, depending on the grader. And we got a Gem Mint 10. So yeah, very cool. I guess it means the grades don't match between the 2 Element Secrets. But that's completely okay, because it does reflect the fact that the Magic Cylinder has better centering. And again, as with all of the other cards I've already shown, they just look really nice. It's kind of quite a unique look, I would say. Pretty simple, but it doesn't exactly copy either PSA or BGS in the way that the labels are put together. And that's definitely a positive, because a lot of the newer grading companies that have come out over the past couple of years, it's just kind of been an obvious copy of either PSA or BGS. Like the MNT, the Canadian company, that one looks identical to BGS, and I've seen some other UK grading companies which look very similar to PSA. Oh, and one thing I haven't mentioned, by the way, the grading house is UK based, so for the moment, I believe you can only submit cards if you are located in the United Kingdom, or if you, I guess, send through a UK middleman or something. But I don't think they're accepting international submissions, at least for the start. Yeah, so we have maybe 5 cards left to go. This one is a Unlimited Luster Dragon from MFC. This looked pretty clean to me, and got the Gem Mint 10, so lots of gems in this submission. Now, I did pick the cards out carefully, so aside from the ones which kind of had obvious issues, like the red eyes and some of those glossy cards, the cards are pretty clean. They don't really have whitening or anything like that. So I thought they were worthy of gems, and yeah, it's awesome to see that they got the grades that they deserved. Next up, we still haven't had any of the Pristine grades in this return. Obviously, the 10, as I said at the beginning of the video, is split between Gem Mint and Pristine. The way I understand it is that the Pristine grade is kind of similar to your BGS 10 range of condition where there's pretty much nothing on the card at all. But the last few cards I put in the sub were all really, really clean. So that was where I was thinking maybe we could hit a Pristine or two. So first up we have a Sneak Peek 2 Toon Dark Magician Girl. This is technically the first print of Toon Dark Magician Girl, because there's also the Jump promo, which came out, I believe, the same year, but like a few months later. So yeah, this is the first version released. And I mean, it's often the case with promos that you can find them in much cleaner condition than set cards. And yeah, this one is very, very clean. Just a tiny bit off center, top to bottom. Aside from that, there's pretty much nothing wrong with it. And it got the Gem Mint 10. So this is one where I could have seen it maybe getting that Pristine 10. But at the end of the day, the card isn't literally perfect or anything like that. So Gem Mint 10 is totally fine by me. Next up, another really, really clean card. This is a Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman from the CTO3 2006 tins. This one, the centering is truly 10 out of 10 on it. And as far as I recall, it was just very clean all around. The TGH slab, by the way, does have a back sleeve on it. So I don't know if you guys can see that clearly, but there's a little bit of plastic between the back of the case and the card. And what it does really nicely, and this is actually, for me, when I'm comparing this to like a PSA slab, maybe the biggest advantage that it has is that the card does not move in the case at all. So you can see the holder is a little bit bigger than the holder for a maybe a PSA card. Like there's a tiny bit of space between the seal and the card. But if we shake it around, or even like tap it, there's like zero movement. You would have to really hit this pretty hard to get it to move around in the case. So that's really nice to see, because the PSA slabs that come out these days nearly always have like a rattle to them. You can just do this and hear the card moving around in the case. Whereas it's not at all the case with these. So I guess that's something they do a bit more like BGS, because BGS cases don't rattle. But they managed to do it without having the front sleeve on the card as well. So yeah, props to them for figuring that out, because that is a really, really nice touch. It's the kind of thing you can only really appreciate when you have the slab in hand. But yeah, it's awesome. Now this one, you guys can probably see, has like a black label, so something is a bit different to the other cards we've had so far. Those are all blue on the back. And the reason for that is that we got a Pristine on this. So this is a Pristine 10 Shining Flare Wingman. And they have a kind of, I guess, chrome effect with kind of pink and purple and stuff as well in the border for the Pristine. Definitely stands out, definitely looks different to just the Gem Mint label if we put them side by side. But yeah, really nice product. Again, it has a premium feel to it, and it definitely has eye appeal going for it as well. So in terms of like what you can expect from a new startup company, I feel like this ticks about as many boxes as you can hope for. So we have two more cards left. The first one is a European print Ultimate Rare from TLM, Grave Oja. I pretty much sent this because I knew they'd be labeling the different types of Ultimate Rares. And this is kind of a very obvious European print ulti, I guess. Like the way the foil pops is just pretty crazy and a lot better than the North American version. Condition-wise, I think it has a bit of whitening up here on the front. And then, like most European cards, a few dots around the back as well. So I thought it would probably get a 9 overall, and that's what it got, mint 9. So pretty much so far, I don't think we've had a single card which got a different grade to what I'd expect. There were a couple which were maybe borderline, like the Gaia getting the 10 when it could have been a 9, and the Toon DMG maybe getting a Pristine and it got just the Gem Mint. But comparing that to, let's say, a PSA return that I might send out, overall I'm very happy with the grades and the consistency of the grading. And the final card we have is a Karibo from Forbidden Legacy. This is another one I picked out, A, because it's, I guess, like a popular, Yu-Gi card from the anime, but B, because it was very, very clean and very well centered. Centering, again, is basically flawless. I don't think the card has any whitening or anything like that on the back. So yeah, very, very nice and clean. So I thought this could get, I guess, either a gem mint or a Pristine. And we managed to get another Pristine to finish the submission. So yeah, very cool submission, very cool cases to look at. And overall, just a very positive experience sending to the grading house. So I guess like the one disclaimer to say is that if you're looking to send cards and increase the value as with a PSA case, realistically, that's not going to happen in any short time frame. I mean, you even look at a company like CGC, which has been established in comics for a long time, and their trading card branch they've launched in the past year or so. They've graded, I think, over 1 million cards now, but the premium that they command over a raw card, especially on like the majority of stuff, there's maybe some things that they get a lot of value for, but just everyday cards that you grade, that's still a way lower premium than PSA or even, to be honest, BGS. So obviously sending to a new grading company like the grading house, you can't expect that you're going to be able to sell a 10 for the same that you can sell a PSA 10 for or something like that. But aside from that, honestly, it was a very refreshing experience sending to the grading house. I would wholeheartedly recommend it for anyone else in the UK who wants to send off some cards to get graded. Obviously, the turnaround time is much better than PSA. The cost is a lot lower. And I would honestly say the aesthetics of the case, the feel of the case, are right up there, quality-wise and aesthetics and everything like that. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I definitely had a lot of fun trying out a new grading company, especially being from someone that I've known for a number of years. And yeah, with that being said, this is Schlost signing out, and I will see you guys all in the next video.